everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Real Food Live. My name is Alina. I'm a holistic nutritionist, your editor-in-chief at the Hearty Soul, and also hosting today's episode. Now, as usual, before we actually get into making the recipe, I do have my wonderful comment monitoring person, Marianne, so she will be looking out for comments. If you guys have any questions about nutrition info, health swaps, and substitutions, she's there to answer everything. Well, I'm there to answer everything for you. She's going to ask me the questions. Okay, awesome. Let's get started. So today what we're going to be making is buffalo cauliflower wings. Now, if you're wondering if you heard me correctly, you're like, wait, what? Did she say cauliflower? I think Alina meant to say chicken wings. No, unfortunately, it is cauliflower wings. But I promise, they taste just as good as chicken wings, and they are so, so amazing. It all comes down to using the right sauce. So here's the thing. We all love chicken wings, right? When we go out to a restaurant, but we all know that it's so easy to just end up eating an entire bucket of chicken wings because the sauce is so amazing. It's deep fried, it's super creamy. Usually it has a lot of sodium or some sugar added in. And of course, with the chicken, I mean, how often are we making chicken wings at home? Unless it's from like a frozen box or at the restaurant. They're usually using factory farmed chicken, which has antibiotics in it, and it's just not the healthiest source of protein. So instead, we are going to be using cauliflowers. And the great thing about cauliflower, of course, is, you know, it's suitable for vegetarians and for vegans. It's also more high in fiber, and it's actually pretty dense in protein too. So trust me on this, these taste so, so good. So we're gonna get started. And the first thing we're gonna do before we do anything else is actually chop this cauliflower. Now, in the past, I was not very good at chopping cauliflower. I just sort of used to hack at it and cut it into pieces. Then I discovered this thing called YouTube, which actually tells you how to chop things properly. You will be amazed by the things you can find on YouTube. You can probably figure out how to chop a watermelon into an elephant-looking shape. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, you can pretty much find anything on YouTube. So I did research how to chop a cauliflower a little while back, and I found this amazing method, which is what I want to share with you guys. So the first thing you want to do is you want to flip your cauliflower upside down, as I have, and you want to start removing the leaves, like so, because you really want to be able to see the stalk. That is what we're going to start pulling away from. Okay, so I've removed most of the leaves. Oh, and of course, if you do see any brown at the top as well, you can just take off that. Make sure when you are picking your cauliflower, you know, there isn't too much of that going on. I am already making a mess. Great. So just take off a little bit of the brown spots, just to be on the safe side. Okay, so here's the key. You don't want to start chopping at it from here. You want to chop at it from the bottom. And what you're going to do is, I'm using a paring knife over here. You're just going to start chopping or cutting around the stalk so that these guys just sort of fall off. See how gently that just fell off? It just floated off. That's great. So you're going to start with the top part, and you're just going to start taking them off. I do realize these are much bigger chunks right now. Don't worry, we will cut them down into smaller pieces. And I also have a very handy hack for how to do that as well and still make sure it looks pretty. So as you can see, this is not taking very long at all. I have chopped all of them off. And then what you're left with is this stalk. So that's what it should look like at the end. You're preserving as much of the cauliflower florets as possible. So I can put that at the side and clean up a little bit. Okay, so what you're gonna do now that you have these giant cauliflower pieces, you don't want to make your wings this size, right? You don't want to have like a giant cauliflower wing this size. You could, maybe you could actually, if you wanted to, so you can determine whatever size you want. But I personally like something a little bit more bite size, of course. So what you do is you take your knife and you actually make a little slit in the stalk, and then it just sort of it easily falls apart and breaks into two. So what you could do is, I mean, you might be wondering, well, why can't I just slice it the entire way through? And what ends up happening if you slice the entire way through, the world's not going to end. It's just you get a little bit of a sharp edge, which doesn't look as pretty or as natural. So see, this looks a little bit more natural as well. Okay, so we're just going to continue doing that for a bit, and in the meantime, I will tell you a bit about the benefits of cauliflower. So something I actually learned recently too, I didn't realize how high in protein vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower are. This is probably a medium-sized head cauliflower, and this has around 11 grams of protein, which is not bad. It's kind of like 2 eggs. So a little over 2 eggs actually, so that's not bad at all for a vegetable. Vitamin C is also very high in cauliflower, which is amazing for our skin, for our immune system, for our hair, our nails, because it helps make collagen. So definitely get a lot of vitamin C in here. I believe it's nearly 300 milligrams per head as well when it comes to vitamin C. And one of the most important things actually about cauliflower and the brassica vegetables in general is that they have something called indole-3 carbinol. Now, it's also known as I3C, and you may find it on certain hormone balancing supplement blends. And what it does is it helps with the detoxification of estrogen or excess estrogen in the body. And then along with the fiber too, which binds to that excess estrogen. It's awesome, it's great. And I see we already have a question. Yes, Marianne, what's the question?
We have some comments. Mal says, hi, Alina.
Hi. Hello.
Jeff says, I love cauliflower wings.
Ooh, amazing. I love that someone actually knows what these are already and likes them. That's great.
And Kevin says, yum.
Okay, so we have a lot of people excited. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you guys are excited about these cauliflower wings. Because trust me, they are really, really good. I made a batch last night as well, and my husband loved them, and I also love them. But there's a trick to getting them right, which I am going to talk about as well. Okay, I promise, we are nearly done with these cauliflower florets. Last one to go. One more fun fact about cauliflower for you. Vitamin K is in here too. Lots of vitamin K, which helps calcium absorb for strong bones and teeth as well. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm just going to wash my hands a little bit, rinse off some of that excess cauliflower. And now that we have these cut into florets, we're going to make the batter. So I'm just going to do a little switcheroo over here so you can see what I'm adding in. And so it's only 4 things for the batter. The first thing you're going to add in is some chickpea flour. Now I'm not going to lie, chickpea flour had run out at the past 2-3 convenience stores I went to, so I'm using a substitute here, but you definitely want to use chickpea flour, because the thing with chickpea flour is it's going to really help make your buffalo wings much more crispier and a little bit more dense as well. They're not going to be like floppy or soggy, they're going to be super, super crisp. So I am just using a gluten-free flour mix just for right now. But highly recommend using chickpea. It is going to be much better. But yeah, if you have any questions as well about other flour substitutes you may want to use, you can type away and let me know. But I would not recommend very light flours like coconut flour as well, which absorbs a lot of water, and you would need like 3 times as much water, and it's going to be a bit soggy. So yes. I don't know if I made it clear, but chickpea flour is the way to go. Okay, so I did a cup of flour, a cup of water. I'm just sort of mixing that together. You just want to make sure it's a little smooth. Get those little knots and bumps out. Just press down with your spatula. And then 2 more things I'm going to add in. And again, you can add in more stuff too. This is just like very basic. All I'm adding in is a little bit of sea salt. This is around a half a teaspoon. I'm also adding in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder just for that flavor. So if you wanted, you can try adding in some other herbs over here. You could add in, if you really want extra spice, add in some more chili flakes, although I promise you that hot sauce that we're going to use later on is pretty strong. So that's it. It was that easy, super smooth. And we have another question. Yes.
Penny wants to know, what other flours could you use?
Yes. Okay. So here's what I think. Now, I have experimented with these for 2 flours that went wrong and 1 that went right. Chickpea flour, amazing. Coconut flour, no. Gluten-free flour, it's okay. It's still going to be a little bit soggy. I think the key is to use a flour that is a bit more dense in nature. So I think brown rice flour is one that I've seen online as well that has sort of a similar consistency to chickpea flour. So I would go with something like that, a bit more of a hard flour like that. Maybe if you're okay with some gluten but it's not wheat, a spelt flour may be okay as well. So yeah, don't hold me to it, but chickpea flour all the way if you can, or brown rice. Okay, awesome. So now that we have the batter done, we are going to pour in this cauliflower. So I'm actually just gonna do it by hand because I am too scared of dropping these if I lean the chopping board into the bowl. Doesn't take too long. All right, so now we have the cauliflower in here in the batter, and this will just take around 30 seconds, guys. All you need to do is just make sure you are covering the cauliflower as much as you can with this batter. Don't worry if it looks kind of like ugly sludge right now. It definitely will, but don't you worry. Once you add in that hot sauce and roast this for a while, it's just, it looks amazing. So, okay, there we go. That was pretty much it, guys. You have mixed it in with the batter, and now what we're gonna do is have a baking sheet ready with some parchment paper on it, okay? And the first thing you wanna do actually before even putting the cauliflower on it, as always, I like to grease my baking sheet a little bit. So I have some coconut oil over here and a little brush, and don't go too crazy, but just add on a little bit of coconut oil. And you're using this just so that it doesn't stick. Again, I like using coconut oil because it's a saturated fat, which means it is less sensitive to heat and to light. So when you're baking this at a high temperature, you know that it's not going rancid or that it is damaging for your health. So it's my preferred oil of choice when I am lining any baking sheet. That or ghee, actually, which is clarified butter. Both of them amazing, and they leave a great flavor too. So now what you're gonna do, you're just gonna put all of this cauliflower onto the baking sheet and just spread it out like as much as possible. See that they don't stick together, okay? So we're just going to do that. Make sure it doesn't stick together. And we have another question, yes?
Well, we have a couple of nice comments.
Oh.
Kimberly says, thank you for actually saying the measurements.
Oh, no worries. They are also going to be available in the link as well. If you did miss anything, so for any audience member who did, it's in the link. Yeah.
And Teresa says, first time here, love this.
Oh, amazing. Hi, Teresa. Welcome to the show. Awesome. So happy to have you. Cool. So, guys, now this is ready to go into the oven. This is going to go at 450 degrees, so the oven has been preheating, and you want to leave it for around 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes then, you take it out, and then we add in like the hot sauce and the butter that I have on the side, and you toss it in that, and then it goes in again for another 25 minutes. So right now, I'm going to put this aside for 15 minutes. So let's put this in the oven. And of course, because I'm not going to make you watch me for 15 minutes and just kill time and tell you jokes and more fun facts about cauliflower, I have actually had it done already. So these are pre-baked. This is what it looks like. Again, because we had run out of the chickpea flour and I'm using gluten-free flour here, it's not going to be as crisp. When I used chickpea flour last night to make the final batch that I'm going to show you, it was a little bit thicker and dense and far more crispy and a little bit blackened as well, which I liked. So now that we have this ready, what you do is you just need to mix the remaining 2 ingredients. So this is 2/3 cup of hot sauce, and then I have 1 teaspoon of grass-fed butter. Now you can do grass-fed butter or you can do ghee. They are both very healthy options, and if you didn't want to use any animal products or dairy at all, You can probably just use something like coconut oil, and that would be fine too. It's just for a little bit of like extra rounding out the flavor, and that's all. And now with the hot sauce, do try and buy a hot sauce that is just the bare bones ingredients. So avoid things like sulfites and other preservatives in there. This one that I'm using is just plain peppers, vinegar, a little bit of salt, I believe. So very, very simple ingredients, no added preservatives. That's what you want to stick to. Okay, so what we're gonna do, actually I'm going to wash this bowl here for a second because it's a big one. And I apologize, I will be back in just a second. And I'm back. Okay, what we're gonna do, guys, is, let's put that on top of this. We're gonna add in the hot sauce, okay? Then you are going to add in the butter as well. And just give it a little bit of a mix. I'm gonna wash the spatula as well. Just reuse the same bowl, it's fine, it's messy anyway. So you just give it a good little whisk, and now you are gonna put that half-baked cauliflower in here for further roasting. So what I like to do is just, hold on, I'm gonna bring this closer. I'm gonna pour some in, take this parchment paper like this and make a bit of a funnel and pour in all of that cauliflower. Okay, I did not make a mess of things and I'm very proud of myself. Okay, so here we go, guys. You can see now that this is starting to get a lot of hot sauce action. Coat it as much as possible. Get every corner and crevice that you can. Okay, and it didn't even take that long. It just takes around 15 seconds, it seems. So not very long at all. And then what you're gonna do again, you're gonna put this onto parchment paper, and you're gonna, or actually I shouldn't have thrown that out. Basically, use that same parchment paper that I have now discarded, and then put these cauliflowers on there, 25 minutes. You can check a little bit early if you want. Sometimes some people's ovens are a bit different. Check at the 15-20 minute mark just to make sure everything's okay. Toss it around a little if you feel like it's getting too blackened. I personally like it as crispy as possible. Okay, so we're gonna put this away for 25 minutes now. And because it's TV, I'm going to show you the finished product now. Okay. As you can see, here is the finished product. I hope you are getting a good glance at this. So you can serve it with celery, with dip. I've used here a tzatziki, so you can make a vegan tzatziki if you want. You can use a goat milk-based tzatziki, which is what this is. And you can see here, like, these look amazing. These actually look kind of like buffalo chicken wings. It's the same sort of, it looks the same from far away and sort of the same color. And you can see here that it's crisp, it's not soggy. And yeah, this looks amazing to serve for any time that you have people over. So you can just dip it in a little bit and we're gonna have a taste. That is really, really, really good. And it's got a bit of a kick, but it's a good kick. Honestly, this is amazing for anyone who loves a little bit of spice and that extra flavor. You can always add more in, you can always tone it back, but this was so easy to make. I'm sure you can make this with other things as well. You can try out roasting broccoli in a similar manner as well and serving that with dip. So I hope you enjoyed this. Are there any other questions, Marianne?
Lakin says, I love all of your tricks and
Awesome.
tips. Thanks for sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys.